You're watching Altherr and Pyle, sponsored this week by Quincy's Brass Band. For more information on how you can be able to book them for your next event, like our Quincy's Brass Facebook page or go to www.quincy'sbrass.com. Coming up on this edition of Altherr and Pyle, Altherr and Pyle proudly presents a very special Father's Day skit about a father who apologizes to his son for not spending time with him. Plus, in this week's Throwback Saturday segment, Jacob Pyle sits down with the former teacher about how much she liked her jobs. And finally, Denny Altherr goes into further detail about his life story in this week's Borrowed Time article. All that and more coming up right now on Altherr and Pyle. And now, coming to you live from our studios here in Tipton, Indiana, it's Altherr and Pyle. And here are your hosts on Altherr and Pyle, Denny Altherr and Jacob Pyle.
Hello everybody, welcome to this edition of Altherr and Pyle. I'm Jacob Pyle.
And I'm Denny Altherr. Tomorrow's Father's Day, and I hope you got all your dads out there something nice. In fact, to honor this special day, we're going to recreate a skit that was originally filmed a couple of years ago.
That's right. If you can recall, back in 2013, I did a skit with two people that were involved with the newscast I did for the youth ministry, and as they participated in a skit known as Apology from a Parent. And we're going to do the skit again for you now. So, without further ado, Altherr and Pyle is proud to present the skit Apology from a Parent. Danny, if you'll excuse me, I gotta make a phone call.
Go right ahead.
Hello?
Dad, happy Father's Day. I love you.
That sounded a bit awkward.
Sorry.
No, actually, I'm sorry. I mean, why would it come naturally to you if it doesn't come naturally from me? I mean, I should say it more often, right? I should have started that when you were a baby.
It's okay.
No, it isn't. You do know that I love you.
Yeah?
I do, you know.
I know.
Well, I know I haven't been the perfect parent.
I haven't exactly been the perfect son.
But I am the adult. I should be setting the example no matter what my parents did or did not do. I need to step up.
Were your parents not around for you?
You know, that really shouldn't matter. When I became a Christian a few years ago, I learned to forgive my earthly parents, and God became my perfect Heavenly Father. And Jesus is my perfect living example, and the Bible should be somewhere nearby so that I can study it every day and learn from it. And then I should be living it, consistently. And then teaching you what I've learned, not just by what I say, but what I do.
I've noticed a bit of a difference.
Well, I do know there should be a way bigger difference.
No one's perfect.
Well, no, of course not, but we should be trying and be learning and growing every day, and when we do make mistakes, we should learn how to work things out properly. Like the other day, you were trying to explain something, but I just cut you off because, well, there really isn't any excuse. I just assumed that you were up to no good, and then we got into our usual screaming match. I should have listened, and we should have discussed things. So, I apologize for that. I'd like to try again with that and have a real conversation. If you're to respect me, then I need to respect you. We need to work together because I would really like to have a peaceful, joyful house where you feel safe and loved. So how about if we sit down somewhere and really talk? And I want you to start. Let me know your thoughts and concerns and how you're feeling, and then, well, we could just spend some time together. Maybe watch a movie.
You got it. I'll see you later then.
You got it.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
Sorry about that.
Oh, you're fine. By the way, special thanks goes out to Steve Brown for lending his voice as the father in the skit.
This skit is based on Ephesians 6:4, which states, "Fathers, do not exasperate your children, instead bringing them up in your training and your instruction of the Lord." There's more of Altherr and Pyle yet to come, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
Coming up in this week's Throwback Saturday segment, Jacob Pyle sits down with a former teacher about how she liked her job. And we'll have that for you when Altherr and Pyle returns.
Welcome back. It's time for this week's Throwback Saturday segment. And in this week's Throwback Saturday segment, I have an interview with a former teacher of mine. This lady was a real inspiring teacher for anybody who was thankful to have had her in one of her classes. So let's go back to 2012 as I sit down with special guest Miss Evelyn Holman.
I'm Judge Evelyn Holman, and I'm sitting in the hot seat.
That's right, it's the hot seat segment. And we are so delighted to have with us today one of the finest judges here in Sharpsville, Judge Evelyn Holman, or otherwise known as Mrs. Holman.
Thank you, Jacob.
Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the first and foremost question. You were not only you were the judge at in Sharpsville, but you used to be a school teacher at Tri-Central.
That's correct. Yes.
How long were you the how long were you the English teacher at the school?
At Tri-Central, I was there 42 years. However, I've taught 46. I taught in a small school in the southern part of the state for 4 years, and then we moved up here.
Okay. And why did you decide to retire?
Well, you know, I've been doing it for a long, long time, and maybe it's time for somebody younger with newer ideas to take over. And besides that, I'm enjoying my grandchildren, and my husband's health hasn't been real terrific, and so I'm making sure I'm there to watch over him as well.
Okay. All right. Now you were also, of course, you're also the judge here in Sharpsville. How long have you been the judge?
I believe this is my 32nd year.
32nd year. So you became the English teacher before you became the judge.
Yes, yes. I have to run for that office, but so far I've always been elected, and not many people want to do that job.
Yeah.
But I've enjoyed it. There have been some unfortunate situations, but for the most part, it's been a learning situation for me.
Yeah. Have you had any cases have you had any, like say when you were the judge, have you had any bad cases which you couldn't handle?
Well, by law, there's a certain level of case that I can handle. As long as it's a misdemeanor infraction or a town ordinance, I can take care of it. If it becomes into felonies or even some of the more severe misdemeanors, they have to go to circuit court, which is in Tipton. So by law, that's decided for us.
And our final question, speaking of being the, and I'm speaking of this, for both being an English teacher and being the judge. Have you had any people come up to you and say how wonderful of a job you do in both cases?
Well, I don't get as many. Well, I'll take that back. I do get some people who tell me in court that they think I'm very fair, and of course, nobody likes to come to court. That's never a fun activity. But most people think I'm fair, and as far as teaching is concerned, I've loved every minute of it. Not that every minute's been a piece of cake, but I have really enjoyed my career. It never seemed like I was going to work.
Okay. What was your favorite English course that you taught?
I love grammar. I like to teach grammar, although I certainly have taught my share of other things. But I kind of like to get down to the nuts and bolts of the English sentence and try to help kids put it together.
All right. Well, Judge Evelyn Holman, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thank you, Jacob. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you for the interview, Mrs. Holman. By the way, Evelyn Holman to this day is still the judge over the Sharpsville Town Hall. It's good to see that she is still doing what she loves to do the best. There's more of Altherr and Pyle to come, so don't go away. We'll be right back.
Coming up, Denny Altherr has this week's Borrowed Time article. We'll have that for you when Altherr and Pyle returns.
Welcome back. It's time for this week's Borrowed Time article. A couple of weeks ago, if you can recall, I did a Borrowed Time segment about my testimony. my true story, and I have received several positive comments concerning that, and I have been asked if I could go into more depth about it. So I've decided to do so. When I was born, as I mentioned previously, I was diagnosed with having cerebral palsy and also had fluid on my brain. This would be the beginning of numerous surgeries as I was to face throughout my life. As an infant, doctors had to implant a shunt into my brain on my right side that would end in the lower right side of my abdomen. This grew, and this shunt would help keep excess fluid from forming on my brain. I've had to go through many operations as I grew in order to keep from having difficulties. These surgeries took place at Riley Hospital for Children in Indianapolis, now known as Riley Hospital at IU Health. Most of the time the surgeries were successful, but there was one instance where, when I was as a youngster, the surgery was performed and I was sent home, but still didn't feel very good. A few hours later I was taken back to Riley Hospital and was examined, and it was determined that a tube of the wrong length had been implanted, and it had to be removed and replaced with one that was the correct length. This was the only time I recall ever having to go back for a correction surgery. The last surgery I had of this nature was in January of 1999. When this revision was done, the doctors couldn't remove the original shunt, as skin had already begun to grow over it. It's now been 15 years, and I can safely say that I am fortunate I have not had to return for another operation. I've also had surgeries done on my legs. The cartilage from both of my ankles were removed, but nothing was put in place of the removed tissue. So when I walk, I can only walk for so long before my legs become very tired, which causes my feet to ache. And I would have to sit down somewhere. I can't even stand in one position for very long without having pain shoot up my legs, and sometimes it causes me to feel like I would just fall over. I think the most important surgery I had in my life happened in September of 1981. We heard of a doctor who did facial reconstructive surgery. He was located in Fort Worth, Texas. So my parents made a decision that we should see him. His name is Dr. Larry Wolford. I have no idea if he still practices to this day. We met with him after having a consultation, and it was decided to have him do the surgery. The surgery entailed having the right side of my face build up more to make it look more even with my left side, and this was done by taking some of my hip bone and placing it near the upper jaw area. When this was done, though, one thing had to be done that I had not expected and didn't know how I would react. My jaw had to be wired shut for 6 to 8 weeks in order for the bone to connect and heal. This meant that for the next couple of months, whatever I had to eat had to be liquefied. That's right. Most everything had to be put in a blender and purified into liquid, just so I could get nourishment into my body. I didn't weigh much back then to begin with, either. At that time, I weighed 88 pounds. Have you ever known someone who has tried eating through a syringe? My first experience was something I'll never forget. When my parents and I came back from Texas, there was one evening my mother had prepared supper, and when I went to get some of what she blended for me into the syringe, it was a little tough getting that job done. Finally, it was easy, but not without a catastrophe happening. The syringe became clogged, and when trying to get it unclogged, it came apart, and what was inside went all over the place. You name it, it landed there. Even on my own father's face. Everyone was laughing. I'm not sure if I was or not. But thinking back on it now, it was kind of funny. I was to have a few more surgeries done in Texas, but that never happened. I had always thought that it was my parents' choice. I soon found out that it was to have been my choice. The remaining surgeries that were to have taken place was the doctor was going to work more on the right side of my face and also do some correction surgery on the bridge of my nose to make it more narrower. But, you know, as I said a couple of weeks ago, does it really matter what someone looks like on the outside? As long as they are happy with themselves, that's all that really matters. Here again, it's what's on the inside that should matter most. And I hope you realize that. People have said to me that I was made the way God intended for me to be. We are all made in His image and how He wants us to be. He doesn't want us going around staring at people just because they look different. We are taught to love and be kind to one another. If we could all do this, the world would be a lot better place to live in. There's more of Altherr and Pyle yet to come.
Hey, Mr. No Name! Yes? What is the tallest building in the world? Sears Tower? Nope, guess again. The tallest... Oh, I get it. The Empire State Building. Nope, not that either. Alright, Jacob, I give up. What is the tallest building in the world? The library. It has the most stories. Oh, the library, that's, the library has all kinds of books and has stories in the library. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I love it, that's a good one.
Hi, I'm Denny Altherr.
And I'm Jacob Pyle. You've seen our show before, and so far we have had a few amazing special guests for our show. But now we are looking for some more special guests to appear on our show.
What can you do as a special guest, you may ask? If you have an interesting interview topic, we'll be happy to have you.
If you have a really good singing voice that you would like to share your talents with on our program, we'll be happy to have you.
Even if it's something silly or funny, we will still be happy to have you on our program. So if you are interested in being a guest on our show, drop us a line on our Altherr and Pyle Facebook page.
Or you can leave us a note on our Altherr and Pyle website at www.altherrandpyle.weebly.com.
Or you can let us know via email. You can either email me, Denny Altherr, at denny.altherr50@yahoo.com.
Or me, Jacob Pyle, at jtpyle1@aol.com.
And we will both look forward to having you as a special guest, right here on Altherr and Pyle.
Welcome back. This week's episode has a lot to do with Father's Day since Father's Day is tomorrow. And there's a special song I want to sing for all of you now. This song reminds us all that we should be spending more time with our dads often, and vice versa. The song is called Cats in the Cradle. A child arrived just the other day. He came to the world in the usual way, but there were planes to catch and bills to pay. He learned to walk while I was away, and he was talking before I knew it. And as he grew, he say, I'm gonna be like you, Dad. You know I'm gonna be like you. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When he coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. My son turned 10 just the other day. He said, thanks for the ball, Dad, come on, let's play. Can you teach me to throw? I said, not today, I got a lot to do. He said, that's okay, and he walked away, but his smile never did. He said, I'm gonna be like him, yeah, you know I'm gonna be like him. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon, little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you coming home, Dad, I don't know when, but we'll get together then. You know we'll have a good time then. from college just the other day. So much like a man, I just had to say, son, I'm proud of you. Can you sit for a while? He shook his head no, and he said with a smile, what I really like, Dad, is to borrow the car keys. See you later, can I have them, please? And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you coming home, son, I don't know when, but we'll get together then, Dad. You know we'll have a good time then. I've long since retired, my son's moved away. I called him up just the other day. I said, I'd like to see you if you don't mind. He said, I'd love to, Dad, if I can find the time. You see, my new job's a hassle and the kids have the flu. But it's sure nice talking to you, Dad. It's been sure nice talking to you. And you know what? As I hung up the phone, it occurred to me, you've grown up just like me. My boy was just like me. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you coming home, son, I don't know when. We'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time then. And the cat's in the cradle and the silver spoon. Little boy blue and the man on the moon. When you coming home, son, I don't know when. But we'll get together then, Dad. We're gonna have a good time then.
Altherr and Pyle will return after this. You know, that really shouldn't matter. When I became a Christian a few years ago, I learned to forgive my earthly parents, and God became my perfect heavenly Father. Jesus is my perfect living example, and the Bible should be somewhere nearby so that I can study it every day and learn from it. And then I should be living it consistently and teaching you what I've learned, not just by what I say.
I just realized something. I don't have my suit on. I don't have my suit. Hang on just a second. I'm so sorry.
That's fine. Like I say, I'll have it memorized here in a minute. If you want to watch more episodes of this show, go to www.altherandpyle.weebly.com. And please don't forget to like our Altherr and Pyle Facebook page as well. Back to you, Denny and Jacob.
And now it's time for this week's final thought. Denny?
This week we celebrate Father's Day. Well, actually, it is tomorrow as you are watching this. I'd like to take this time and reflect on what my father meant to me. I lost my father over 20 years ago, and every Father's Day since that time, I am reminded of all the good things he has done for me growing up and becoming a man. Like every father would, he taught me right from wrong, and when I did something wrong, I would be corrected for that. But he also praised me for the things I did right as well. He was at my side when as a youngster I had to spend lots of time laying in a hospital bed. He never once gave up on me. I'd give anything to have him here still today, but I know that he is watching over me and praising me for the good things that I do.
My dad's a good person to have around as well. My dad and I both have similarities, some that differ more than others. Just like Denny's father, my dad taught me what was right from what was wrong. He and I are not only father and son, but also he and I are very good friends. We keep up on each other's toes. We do spend a lot of quality time together as a family. And I also learned a lot of different things from my dad than ever before. And he always appreciates what talents I have, the same way I appreciate him for what talents he has. We love each other just like any ordinary father and son would, and I'm so glad and thankful to have him by my side each and every day.
If you are fortunate to still have your dad around, let him know how much you love and appreciate him. Don't just tell him, show him. There's nothing wrong with showing your father that you love him by giving him a hug instead of just a mere handshake. Be loving and appreciative of your dad, because you never know what tomorrow may bring.
And with that, that's going to do it for this edition of Altherr and Pyle. Thank you for joining us.
I'm Denny Altherr.
And I'm Jacob Pyle. Until next week, good night, and God bless my friends.
Altherr and Pyle has been sponsored this week by Quincy's Brass Band. For more information on how you can be able to book them for your next event, like our Quincy's Brass Facebook page or go to www.quincy'sbrass.com. This is Steve Brown speaking for Altherr and Pyle. This program has been pre-recorded.